The first sign is not a sound but an absence of it. One moment the jungle is a riot of noise. The chatter of monkeys, the drone of insects, the call of unseen birds. The next a profound unnatural hush falls over the land. Kayla Hunter in this small family band of Homo sapiens lowers his spear. The Sombar deer he was stalking has frozen its head, raised its nostrils, flared, sensing a wrongness that transcends the simple fear of a predator. Then the birds begin to fall. Not one but dozens. They drop from the sky like stones, their flight cut short by something they cannot see. The air suddenly is thick and hard to breathe. In the west, where the sun should be a warm gold, in the late afternoon the sky is boiling. A wall of bruised purple and churning grey climbs toward the zenith, moving with impossible speed. Then comes the sound. It is not a roar but a low gut-churning vibration that travels through the ground itself, felt in the bones before it is heard. The ground shudders, a long sickening tremor that sends the monkeys screaming from the trees. Kale abandons the hunter's only thought for his mate Leah and their young daughter Ina back at the riverside camp. He sprints through the suddenly alien forest, the world trembling beneath his feet. He finds them staring at the horrifying sky, Ina clutching her mother's leg. Leah's face is tight with a focused, intelligent fear, as the first gritty flakes begin to fall. Not rain, not snow, but something dry and grey. She is already thinking. She grabs the large tortoise shells they use for carrying water and begins covering their small precious spring. She understands with an instinct honed by a life of constant adaptation that what falls from the sky will poison the land. This act of foresight is a defining trait in the story of human evolution. They are living witnesses to an event that will one day be called the to-be catastrophe theory, a super eruption on a scale that this ancient Earth has not seen for millennia. They know nothing of geology, or volcanoes. They only know that the sky is falling and the sun is being murdered. Within an hour the world is plunged into a suffocating twilight. The air stinks of sulfur, the mountains rotten breath. A thick grey powder covers everything, clinging to skin and hair, turning the vibrant green jungle into a monochromatic nightmare. It is the beginning of a long volcanic winter, a planetary crisis that will push the fragile population of early humans to the absolute brink. They huddle together under a rock overhang, listening to the soft, ceaseless hiss of the falling ash. The river, once their source of life, runs thick and grey, a slurry of death. The world they knew is gone, buried, and the sun has vanished. Days bleed into a perpetual featureless grey. The sun is a ghost of faint smudged disk that gives no warmth, only a dim depressing light by which to see the ruin of the world. The ash has stopped falling, but it lies a foot deep, a soft, silent blanket of death. Every plant is coated, every leaf droops and dies. The river is a grey cement of poison. Kale finds dead fish, their gills clogged with volcanic silt. There is nothing to hunt. There is nothing to gather. There is only the cold, the silence, and the fine abrasive dust that gets into their lungs, their food, their water. Ina develops a dry, hacking cough. This is the new face of prehistoric life a Walden made. They must move. The decision is unspoken, a shared glance between Kale and Leah that acknowledges the brutal truth. To stay is to die. They abandon their home, a place of memory and relative safety, and set out on a journey with no destination. Their only guide is a desperate primal instinct. Move away from the mountain's shadow toward the coast, where the great water might offer a chance at life. The journey is a slow, agonizing traverse through a monochrome hell. The ash crunches under their feet like dry snow. The air is so still that the sound of their own breathing is a loud intrusion. They do not know it, but they are a microcosm of a species in crisis, a handful of the human ancestors pushed through the eye of a needle. The genetic bottleneck is not a theory to them. It is the simple, terrifying fact of their own solitude. They see no tracks, hear no calls. They are utterly alone. Starvation is a constant companion. It gnaws at their bellies and hollows out their faces. It is here at the absolute edge of extinction that their greatest tool reveals itself, a profound cognitive flexibility. Leah, her memory, a catalogue of the living world, recalls that certain tough ropey vines have roots that swell with starch deep underground beyond the reach of the ash. Kale fashions a digging stick from a fire-hardened branch, one of the most vital survival skills ever developed. For hours he scrapes and hacks at the compacted ashy soil. The first tuber they unearth is small and bitter, but it is food. Leah finds a muddy seep where groundwater filtered through the earth pools. It tastes of grit and sulfur, but it is water. Cal, remembering how charcoal from a fire can sweeten the taste of stagnant water in a dry season, devises a crude filter. He crushes the charcoal of a dead tree, packs it in a hide bag with grass and lets the water drip through. It is a slow, tedious process, but the water that emerges is cleaner. They are not just enduring, they are thinking. They are solving problems that no ancient humans have ever faced. Each small victory is an act of defiance against a hostile planet. The cost of one more day is etched on their bones, but they pay it one footstep at a time. The taste of salt is the first sign they have reached the edge of the world. They stumble out of the grey skeletal forest onto a beach of blacks and mixed with the ubiquitous ash. The ocean is vast, grey and unnervingly flat, its waves listless under the oppressive sky. There are no soaring gulls, no scuttling crabs, none of the vibrant life that should teem at the boundary of land and sea. The bleached bones of large prehistoric animals caught by the poison tides lie half buried in the ash. This is not the sanctuary they had hoped for. It is merely a different kind of tomb. They are at the end of their strength. Aina is a frail bundle in Leah's arms, her cough now a shallow, rattling breath. Caleb's powerful hunter's frame is skeletal, his movements slow and deliberate, conserving the last dregs of energy. Hope, which had been the fuel for their impossible journey, is now the heaviest burden. For days they exist in a state of living death. Kel finds a few mollusks clinging to rocks in a tidal pool, their shells sealed against the ash-laden water. He smashes them open, feeding the raw slimy meat to Leah Undina first. He chews on the tough leathery seaweed that washes ashore. This small family unit, a fundamental component of the human story, is breaking down under the strain. There are no more words. There is only the shared hollow-eyed gaze of beings who have endured too much. They are the last of their kind, a final flickering ember of the species Homo sapiens, and they feel the cold of that profound isolation. The great epic of prehistory feels as though it is coming to a silent, ignominious end on this dead beach. They huddle in the lee of a great ash-dusted boulder as another cycle of dim light fades. The cold is intense. This Kale thinks is the end. He pulls his maiden child closer, a final futile act of protection. They do not sleep. They drift in a stupor of cold and hunger, waiting. But then something changes. On the eastern horizon, where the sky meets the sea, a line of pale light appears. It is not the usual uniform grey. It has color, a faint, impossible sliver of orange. It grows slowly, tentatively pushing back the darkness. For the first time in months, a direct ray of sunlight breaks through a gap in the global haze. It is weak, watery, and gives no real warmth, but it is light. It streams across the grey water and illuminates their faces. Ina, who has not moved for hours, stirs. Her small hand lifts and she points with a single dirty finger. Kale and Leah stare, their minds too starved to process the miracle. Tears they did not know they had left begin to stream down their faces, cutting clean paths through the layers of grime. The sun has returned. Their struggle is not over. This new paleo environment is a scarred and hostile world. But the long night has ended. They have survived. The family on the beach represents a turning point, not just for them but for all of us. Their ordeal, multiplied across thousands of similar unrecorded struggles, is the event horizon of our species. The Tubiac catastrophe theory suggests that the human population may have been reduced to a few thousand individuals, a genetic bottleneck so narrow it is a statistical miracle anyone survived. Those who did, like Kale and Leah, were not the strongest, but the most adaptable, the most intelligent, the most cooperative. Their desperate innovations, the digging stick, the water filter, the relentless search for new food sources, were the crucible in which the modern human mind was forged. The sky fell, and in the suffocating darkness our ancestors learned to see. The entire story of anthropology is built upon the foundation of such moments, the unwritten histories of those who refused to let the light go out. Every city we build, every problem we solve is an echo of a family on a desolate beach choosing to face one more dawn. This chronicle is now a part of you. Guarded, for the past is the only map to the future. What happens when the greatest threat is not the world but ourselves?